was it Saturday? Yeah, we went to Apple on Saturday because I guess this kind of leads up into my next conversation. So Hades, the game, I bought it and I did the research to check the specs to make sure I was going to be able to run it on my ancient iMac. And everything checked out. Long story short, I basically got a message when I tried to boot it up that I had to have like Apple Metal compatible API, some IT jargon that I didn't really understand. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Now, granted, this was a $25 game, but I was pretty pissed because I was like, if I can't run this, I'm either stuck with it, I might have to gift it if I can, or I'm going to have to buy a new computer or maybe run it on my MacBook Air.
I mean, Steam does refunds.
See, I didn't know if they did. I just kind of thought that like maybe I'd be stuck with it. So
I don't know what the criteria is. Like, you may only have a narrow window, but they do refunds.
Well, it crossed my mind, like the refund option was on the docket. And I ended up going to Apple on Saturday because my crazy ass was just thinking, you know what, it's time for a new iMac. So I was like,
hold on a second, Will.
Oh my God.
This is like swatting a fly.
I'm so insane.
This is like swatting a fly with a bazooka.
Oh yeah.
This $25 game doesn't run, so I'm gonna buy a $2,000 computer.
Yeah. That is my methodology, man, which is just absolutely like maniacal. So that's what happened. I went and I wasn't really intending on buying one. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. I actually walked in, and this kind of leads up into my other point about kind of piggybacking off what you said about COVID.
Yeah.
So, and retailers. So they have a pretty interesting system at Apple where they have a sort of like a tent outside, I believe. And they have like security guards that take your temperature.
Really?
Oh yeah. So once they take your temperature and that checks out, you then have to get behind a piece of tape on the ground. So you're in line. And then somebody comes up with an iPad. They check you in. They ask you like your full name, what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, what kind of questions you have, and then your Apple ID and all this kind of stuff. And it was kind of intense, but not unpleasantly so. And then we were allowed into the store, and we go in, and you are basically told to wait in another line until the person that's going to help you is ready to help you. Only took like maybe 3-4 minutes, if that. And once they're helping you, like they social distance from you, even with a mask, and you are designated to the one area that you want to look at. You cannot browse.
Really?
You can't just like walk around and like, dilly-dally. And I asked too, I was like, do you mind if like we just browse for a couple minutes? Like when I was done asking all the questions, and they were like, I'm sorry, but we're not allowing browsing at this point in time. Like we can show you, like if you want to look at a phone case, we can walk you over, but you have to stay together. And like I said, this process was not unpleasant. I actually thought that a lot of retailers could probably learn from it. But at the same time, I can understand why they're doing it, because Apple generally is always busy.
Right.
Like before COVID, it was just always packed. No matter what day you went, no matter what time, it was always just flooded with people.
Right.
And going back to the whole iMac thing, I looked at some of the baseline models, some of the higher end ones. They're still ungodly expensive. And it was funny because when I looked at the trade-in value of my 2011 iMac, it was $70. I paid like $1,800 for it. Now, granted, it's like 10 years old. I get it. But geez, like at least give me like $500 for it.
Dude, you could like for $70, you can fucking hack the thing and make it do shit it was never intended to do instead. Have fun with it.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Probably make like an instrument out of it.
Yeah, fucking like close that lid or something. Or well, you're doing the iMac, so that's the computer version, the desktop, right?
Yeah, it's like the all-in-one thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, take the monitor out, hollow it out, and just fucking like now you have yourself a drum.
Yeah, so I looked at like the 21.5, I looked at the 27-inch, and I can't believe I was even entertaining it. And when we left, I was like kind of talking with Lauren about it, and then eventually I was like, I mean, I guess I could probably get it. And then Lauren's like, you know what? You should probably not get anything at all. And I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. And like as she said that, I already had the cursor on the X button when we were at home on the browser just to close it all out. Because I was like, I'm just being insane. Like, and it wasn't just because of the game. I was thinking like other reasons with music production and stuff. It was I don't have a lot of RAM on this thing. It's only 4 gigs, and with some of those sound libraries, they don't load that well because my Mac is slower. So I tried to justify it, and then eventually I was like, this is just ludicrous. So I eventually tried it on the MacBook Air, and it does work. I got the PS3 controller to work with Hades, tested it out. Everything runs fine. It does sound like a fucking rocket because of the fan.
Right.
It's probably the first time the fan ever got activated on that thing. Because most of the time I'm just web browsing and doing like basic shit.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to play the game, man. I got it because it's quite the talk of the town right now on Twitch and just kind of in the gaming scene. And I do like Supergiant games, and it has that transistor kind of feel and look. So, didn't play a lot of it, but I played enough to at least know that I think it's probably going to be a Will's cool game.
Well, what can you tell me about what you've done so far?
Not a whole lot, man. I mean,
this is a game that I'm very interested in, and I just I got a lot on my plate right now, so I hesitate to buy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't, even though it's probably not very long. What I can say is that it looks exactly like Transistor. Supergiant has that sort of, I forget what the actual term is for that particular camera style, but
isometric.
Yes, it has that sort of isometric look. Colors pop, music's good, everything looks very stylistic. So obviously it's a perfect fit for me. And you play as, I think, some sort of god who is dealing with, like, I think they implement a lot of like Greek mythology and Greek gods and stuff that you have to kind of fight and encounter. And that's all I really know. I don't even know anything else. I've seen a lot of gameplay on Twitch, and that sold me. The fact that it's Supergiant, the fact that it was $25, and the fact that I saw a lot of gameplay on Twitch was enough to be like, all right, I need to play this game.
From what I know about the game, it's their take on a roguelite. So there's a lot of repetition in the gameplay because you're dying, you're getting stronger each time you die, and then you go back through again. Beyond that, I don't really know too much about it. But I think it's getting a lot of praise, probably for good reason. Their games are solid. I've had issues with Bastion. We discussed that in length when we did our playthrough many moons ago. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it wasn't a bad game. It just, there were a couple things that didn't quite sit right with me. I don't even remember what I complained about at this point. I'm sure it was...
I don't remember either.
I'm sure there were excellent points, though. But, I don't take myself very seriously. Nobody else should either. But, I did pick up a copy of Transistor around the same time I bought Bastion, and that's been backlogged. And I'm looking at how long to beat for that. And I'm like, oh, it's only 6 hours for the main story. And then, of course, there's the extras and the completionist, and it's like 15 hours for completionist. I'm like, well, I really don't want to pay, 15-hour game now, especially with Dead Space, and I'm still doing Spiritfarer, and I got Mario 64, and I got the Series X. Fuck me. So I'm digging my own hole, man.